Something happened yesterday. I'll probably talk about that during the course of today's broadcast. Manchester United went top of the league. I mean, how often does that happen? And it's all quiet. Everybody's quiet. As we go live on Facebook and YouTube, and I'll be with you. The four of us will be with you in 14 seconds. Hello, if you are watching live, thank you. Please comment, and then we can show your comments on the screen, and they will appear on the recording. Good morning, gentlemen. Morning, Peter.
Morning.
Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, everybody.
And good morning, John. John's on silent. All right. Do a local recording, John. See if you get your mic working that way. And we say good morning to, hey, Tish.
Oh, happy inauguration, happy new president, Tish.
Okay, I suppose that's the first port of call. I certainly feel that the world is back in sync, a safer place, and the possibilities of moving forward on climate change, on the UN, on the World Health Organization have changed overnight. Stephen?
Completely and utterly agree. Yesterday was the most joyous occasion. The way that they organised the inaugural activities was. Do you remember? I think Danny Boyle, when he did our the Olympics video, where opening ceremony, was absolutely lauded as a genius piece of work. Well, yesterday the choreography of everything was so joyous. It was incredibly joyous. It's like coming out of a nightmare and realizing that, oh Christ, there is somebody who can talk the talk and will now have to walk the walk. Thank you, darling. I just had my coffee delivered by my gorgeous wife. I don't know how long I've been away, but it was a joyous occasion, and to see Kamala there as the first female vice president, absolutely wonderful. And there's a thing when you can't even say something out loud without bursting into tears. Oh, we had that last night, all night. It was wonderful.
Peter.
Oh well, I can't say too much because I'll have to hand all these books in for possibly burning, and I'll be taken away to a camp for reprogramming, perhaps.
Re-education.
I read have you seen the guy that worked for PBS, the solicitor that got sacked for saying that they would take the kids of right-wing Republicans away and re-educate them. So what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to sit back and watch everything. But I'll tell you what the mainstream media didn't tell you about yesterday. You probably won't know this.
Okay.
Black Lives Matter were actually rioting in Portland. You'll have to dig deep to find it. They were smashing places up and burning. F Trump, F Biden, both of them. Wow, it's what I'm going to say. I've even got something to shock you today later on. In fact, I'll show you it now if you want.
Go on, Peter. Off you go.
Right, okay. You're never going to believe this. I'll share it. Right, here we go. Now.
Okay, I'm waiting for it to arrive.
This is a screen share from me. I'm actually reading the Guardian.
Oh, shock, horror. Just a minute. Let's put it full screen because this is a moment to savor. Or possibly. Go on, Peter.
To prove to the Liberals I do look at other things, But this is another story. wear medical grade masks if you can't socially distance, Britain's told, and they're told this by the French health authorities. Now, the problem is, not all that long ago, we were told to buy masks that you could wash. Now, when I go walking the dog and that, you'd be surprised how many masks I see lying on the floor. Dirty, breathed-in masks. So they said, get cloth ones and wash them. I think they should make their mind up, folks. What do you think? But there you go. So they're now saying, like some, if you're not self-isolating in your house, you should be wearing FFP masks to be worn on public transport and shops. And that means me going into homes as well. So there you go. So that's, I just thought I'd let you know that. And people at Facebook, look, or read The Guardian, just to let you know. Thank you.
I subscribe to The Guardian, so I'm pleased that you did see it. And it turned to your timeline. Yeah, I mean, the situation is Germany and France.
One sec, guys, please. Oh, thanks, Alan. Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
Germany and France have said that what you just read from The Guardian, Peter, that the cloth masks are just no good. They don't cut it. And we should all change to medical masks. And yeah. I mean, last weekend they started to. I mean, we're in a bad situation, and we're waiting the next 2 weeks for the figures to go down for hospitalisation, for people dying, and the number of people catching it. We're hoping that those go down next 2 weeks as a result of lockdown. But last week we were being told by Boris, amongst others, that shopping was a problem because the virus actually stays on goods. If somebody touches something in the supermarket and you touch it as well, then there is a possibility.
Yeah. I've done it myself. You can't help it. You pick. I know I do. I've seen people going in and not even putting anything in their hands, to be honest with you, because I watch for that. And I've seen me picking up something to read it. Because I actually look at the carbohydrates in food. Yeah. And I do gel my hands quite a lot. I even carry my own gel bottle with me. But the problem is, when I go in for one thing, I end up spending about £70. So I'm kind of banned for going shopping now. Sheila does the shopping because I just can't help myself. I go,
oh, good excuse, Peter.
Yeah.
I'll try that.
Have you ever been to Home Bargains and went for one thing?
No, it's impossible. It's impossible.
But no, there was a big debate today on TV and things like that with Charlie Mullins. You know who he is?
No.
Charlie Mullins is the owner of Pimlico Plumbers in London, a multi-millionaire. Started off the same time as me, a very rich man. And anybody that joins his firm now, and they knew, they've got to take the vax or they're not getting the job. And that's caused a lot of problems. And I actually tweeted out, there was a lot of GM TV this morning about should they be vaxxed. And I actually put, my guys have been going into people's homes since last March. We're fully kitted up, but sometimes the customers have no protection on whatsoever. The few times I've been out, I go out and I've got a mask and I make a play of gelling my hands in front of them. And they say, would you like me to wear a mask? And I usually say, well, I'm trying to protect you. I wouldn't mind if you could protect me. And then to go and get a mask.
What has started in supermarkets now is supermarkets are taking the lead before the government does, which is not unusual, in that it's only one person shopping. And the second thing is that you're not allowed in the supermarket unless you wear a mask.
Yeah. But I've seen videos of, do you know this is a damn shame. There's people actually go and confront them at the front door and they go, I'm exempt. Well, could you show your card or could you show your necklace, whatever thing? No, I don't have to tell you. I would just say, well, I'm not letting you in. Go and shop somewhere else. That's my right not to take you in. What do you think of that?
Quite right. Quite right. I mean, we don't shop at all. We don't go out at all. We have we do have I do click and collect at the local Tesco's, and apart from that, we don't go out.
Well, you're right, John.
Can you hear that? Does that mean you can hear me?
He does now, yeah. I just muted John. He can unmute himself when he's finished.
Everything that comes through the door, whether it's an envelope or a parcel or a grocery order, gets decontaminated. I'm just not prepared to take any risks whatsoever.
So you've been looked at for about a year, haven't you?
Yeah.
And everything that comes through your letterbox, you wipe.
Yep.
Wow.
Everything.
We done that at the beginning, but we don't anymore. We tend to wash our hands after it.
Yeah, we do that as well. But I just, I can't. I'm not prepared to take the risk at all.
And do you go out for a walk or anything?
Not much, no. We went out for a walk about last week or so, and I thought, oh, we'll go this way. And there were lots of humans around. It was the wrong time of day to go out. And when we do a mile-long walk, it's like 5 miles because we're zigzagging across the road to keep out of the way of people. And Sue just said, "No, I'm not letting you be in charge of the walks anymore. I'll decide where we go." I thought, fair enough, yeah, that's cool. We're just so hyper about it. Because
I know the feeling at times, John. Somebody just phoned me.
The same person who phoned the other phone.
They must be desperate. So would I be right in saying you're maybe paranoid about this, Stephen?
Yep, absolutely. But why take the risk? I mean, my mum and dad have had their first vaccines.
Yeah.
And I'm still not going round. But I'm so pleased that they've had them. I am so pleased that they've had them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that all of us are in level 7. So it's going to be about April before we get our jabs. But it's frightening. It's now. I remember going into the Apple store in Manchester in March, April, and I was having my iPad replaced, and the guy there had his mask on, and he was so gung ho about it. Oh, don't worry, it's just going to affect a few people, and really didn't understand that this is going to be horrendous. And it is turned out to be horrendous for whatever reasons. But I'm not taking the risk for anybody, and I'm not risking my family either. So you've got to suck it up, haven't you? Luckily, we've got businesses where Sue's on half furlough. I work from home anyway, and do you know what? It's about 27 days to our first anniversary. Yeah. And essentially, we've been on honeymoon ever since. It's just as well we get on with each other, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's as to when it'll fit. I'm looking. I mean, I run a networking group, Staffordshire Independent Networking Group, SING, and we used to rock up to the golf club down the road. We haven't done that since November, October, so we do it all on Zoom now. But I can't see us getting back into the real world until at least early April.
Yeah.
But we're not dead, which is a brilliant thing. Yeah.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
You know,
okay. Now you mentioned.
Do you watch GMB in the morning? Good morning, Britain.
No.
I watch it, and there was 2 old lady twins, 94 or 96, very famous for going on there and have a good laugh with Piers Morgan.
The Hob days.
Pardon?
The Hob days.
Is that the name of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them died this week, and 2 days later, she got her vax letter in. What a shame. Most of them got it.
Yeah, she was 96, I would like to point out.
That's right, 96, but they were good fun, were they?
Yeah.
So they're just, and it's such a shame if somebody stayed in all week. And there was a case of somebody that never went out, that they think a delivery driver had actually given them COVID, an old couple. And it was a delivery, because it must be a delivery because we know no one. And the only way we got it was for somebody come to the door, because we've never been up.
Yeah, I mean, our delivery driver won't actually come anywhere near the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Which,
yeah. Quite
okay.
interesting.
Right now, Stephen mentioned wedding anniversary a moment ago, but it's another anniversary today. So, happy birthday, Stephen!
I'm happy about same age as me. Do I look younger?
I couldn't possibly get involved. I'm not saying anything. Okay.
Younger than what? That's the question.
Younger than whom?
I don't feel 61. Do you, Stephen?
No.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
I feel as knackered as I've been for the last 40 years, but I've still got a sort of positive viewpoint on life.
I don't know. What do you think about these two youngsters, Stephen? They moan about sodding.
We're doing well. We're doing well. Like all of us, keeping going, keeping focused, having something to drive you forward.
Still doing Joe Wicks.
Still doing Joe Wicks.
I started doing it as well. I started doing it. Found it easy.
Are you doing the 10-minute seniors one?
It's the over 50s. I didn't go to the over 60s because I feel I'm better than that.
when we restarted after Christmas, Sue was saying, "Christ, this is knackering." I mean, it's bad enough because we always get up at 7 so that we can do Joe at 7:15 for 10 minutes, and then coffee, and then start the day. But Christ, she really goes for it, and she suffers the next day, you know.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
I think my cycling helped me because when you go and you lower your legs and when you bend, my cycling, I just found it no problem at all. But Nick's just mentioned, did you know that he said the big fear of going into hospital, right, is you can actually get COVID by going to the hospital. You could break an ankle or something, right? And you go to hospital, there's a high risk of you getting it there, you know, because the pest control industry had a film made, and this is why they dropped the crown immunity to hospitals many years ago. The pest control industry got a film made called Hospitals Can Damage Your Health, and it was about ants and cockroaches and everything climbing about the wards, climbing into drips and everything. And they got the crown immunity dropped, and that's why the standards became a bit better, you know. And as I say, sorry to hear about Nick's mother going in. As I say, you go into hospital, and as much as they try.
Yeah, well, my daughter went back to work after maternity leave, and she got COVID in 19 days working at a hospital. But she wasn't in 19 consecutive days. She was only in 5 days of those 19 days, and she'd got COVID.
Now, you think we've got it bad. Do you know, I looked at a Netflix film the other night, and it was about a siege. I've got to tell you this little story. It was, because I watch army things, it was a siege. I didn't know this, but the Spanish fought the Americans, and the Americans fought the Filipinos, and the Filipinos fought the Spanish at one point. Don't know if you know that. I didn't know. But I looked into it. But there was a fort that they went out to, and they turned it into a fort. And they actually went there, and in the government, meantime, the Spanish had sold the Philippines to America. And the fort still siege. The commanding officer wouldn't believe it had been sold. So they were fighting the Philippines for 1 year. The Filipinos for 1 year they fought, and they sent the Spanish top man and said, "Look, it's over. Here's some papers. Read it." And he went back and he says, "No, it's not true. We haven't done it." And he made his men stay. And 3 of them tried to make a run for it. They says, "Come out, there's no war. Come out, we won't touch you." The 3 of them made a run for it, but they didn't get out. And they executed them for cowardice. And it was an amazing story. 1 year they stayed in. Did you know what that was?
No, I do know that it was a good job that Philippines did get sold to the USA, because now the national language of the Philippines is English.
Yes.
And that means that they can offer their services globally. And
yeah.
if you want a virtual assistant, the best place to get one is in the Philippines.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe a siege for a year, you know.
Okay. Over to Claire, and Claire is with us. Morning, Claire, and she's hoping Nick's mum is okay. And the update from Nick is, luckily she has survived, and we hope to get her home next week.
Yeah.
And over to Claire. Good news. That is good news. Okay, now our most northern representative is Stephen in England. Okay. Storm Crystal.
Remember, we're the United Kingdom.
Yes, I know we still are. Yeah. Have you been affected at all, Stephen, by the storm?
No, not really. It's weed down loads, but and we had some snow last night, but it's not been bad. Not been bad here in Stoke.
Yeah. I mean, it's been very windy for the last couple of days. John?
We had a lot of rain, and yesterday evening I'm looking out the window, and then pops on my phone, my sister posted some photos from Telford, and it's absolutely covered in snow.
And that's not too far away.
Yeah,
that's not too far away, is it?
Telford.
No,
40 minutes in the car.
It's pouring the rain up here, by the way. Miserable day.
So does that mean you're not going to be the walkinator today?
Yeah. Oh, do you know, do you know, talking about walking, I've got a friend of mine, Russell, taxi driver, really struggling. I says, "Why don't we go for a walk? But you'll have to keep up to my limits." Yeah, never that. And I actually walked the most I've ever done. It was 4.8 mile this week. And
excellent.
And I got stuff put in the soles of my feet and my boots, and it was a fantastic walk, and meeting someone I hadn't spoken to for a while. We just had a good walk. Yeah, so it was good. I liked that.
My daughter-in-law, Sue's daughter, lives in Glasgow now, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, you know, it's never sunny. It's always very, very wet, rainy, and horrible.
Yeah.
So I thought of you because you're on the other side, aren't you, on the East Coast?
Yeah, northeast.
It's guessing for you, and same for you, isn't it? It's just crap weather.
Welcome to Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same in Lancashire as well at the moment. A bit wet.
Sunshine here.
Sun shining in Wiltshire. I mean, it always does. I mean, yeah. I mean, Stephen talks about his palm trees, but we've, you know, this is the Riviera down in Wiltshire.
I crave heat. I love when I go on holiday and just get that heat, you know.
This is a good thing. It brings up a point. People are starting to book their holidays for June, July time. Is that a good idea?
No.
Are we joining them?
No. Well, it depends where. I mean, I'm not going to be flying this year abroad. Just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Next year, you know, with the Biden win, we were saying last night, oh, we wouldn't mind going back to here in the States. But this year is going to be a UK holiday, and it's going to. I've got friends who are travel agents, you know, personal travel agents, and they're saying this year is going to be huge for the UK hotels. Or anywhere you can think, it's going to be huge because people don't want to fly. It's just too risky. And you can still do the social distance thing in the UK. So we're going to go everywhere we want. We've never been actually, so we're going to do that.
Well, I promise Sheila we'll go camping.
Mm-hmm.
I think she like that. If she's still talking to you.
If I said to Celia we were going camping, I get more than the bloody finger, I'll tell you. Camping? Sod off with the words.
I agree. Angelica says those days are over. Yeah.
Do you know what puts me to sleep? I was telling Stephen I couldn't sleep well. I actually go on YouTube and I put on a rain on tent black. And you just lie there and you listen to the rain dropping onto the tent and you're nice and safe. And it reminds me, you're sort of like us on the chieftain tank. We used to put the gun over the back of the back decks, put the gun up a bit and put a tarpaulin over it, catch the heat coming off the engine, go into our sleeping bags and listen to the rain. Oh, it was beautiful, great. Then somebody would shake it at 2 in the morning and say, it's your turn to do guard.
Really nice. I use those. Have you heard it? It's on. They're all over the place on YouTube for sure. But they're soundscapes, and you can get a New York cafe sound in the background, and it really does help.
Yeah.
Concentration. Or you can go to a Parisian cafe, or cafes around the world. It's really really helpful when you're in your own office and you've not got anybody to touch, see, hug, or whatever. But I agree. I'm happy if I can drive to a 5-star hotel. That'll do me.
There's a thing called ASMR, and it's people whispering.
Sorry.
Sleep. And the scrape the microphone, go to sleep.
You are a perv, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Look it up. There's dudes doing it, and it actually, it's like hypnotic, and the scrape things on the microphone and everything. Go and look it up, and you'll be asleep in 10 minutes. If I'd done ASMR, I'd go to sleep.
Okay, this broadcast. Come on, stay on air, behave, Peter. Come on, we'll let you sing in a bit.
That's the highlight, Pete. You win the internet.
Right, now, could this be the start of something good and ethical? Marmite maker Unilever, and I listened to them on Radio 4 this morning, have decided that their 60,000 suppliers should all be paying minimum wage. Wherever they're based, they should be paying minimum wage, and they're going to make sure their suppliers do. And if the suppliers don't, they won't supply Unilever anymore. So, is this a good? They're doing it over 10 years, so it's not going to happen overnight. But their aim within 10 years is to ensure that all their employees of their suppliers are actually getting paid a living wage. Your thoughts?
I don't think Peter will like that.
Well, this is what happened in Seattle, in that area. They all wanted a minimum wage. And this is true, go and look up. And it was $15 an hour. They said that's going to be the minimum wage, whether you like it, taking it from $8.50 an hour to $50. So everybody got that, and they were great. And then, so they didn't get the benefits on top of that. So they went into their boss and said, I'm not getting benefits anymore. Could you reduce my hours? And he went, no. He says, it means that I don't have to pay that extra money now etc., etc. And then they went in one day and he says, minimum wage is a bit of a problem. So there's 10 of you, right? And he says, I've actually got these new machines, and this is why you see it in McDonald's and things. I've got these new machines, you put in what you want, and then it goes through and we make it. That means 4 of you are going to be made redundant. Who's the 4 going to be? And that's what happened. So it reduced the workforce because they brought in automation rather than pay. They had to look at their restructuring, and it cost people their jobs. They thought they were going to get their $15 an hour plus their benefits. But he says, no, the government, the state said, you don't need benefits now. You've got your $15 an hour. Be careful what you wish for.
Oh.
A good news story. I'd love to post something which is good news and for it to be accepted as a good news. That's one of my wishes this year, that there isn't a cloud for every silver lining. Right, okay, on to the next story and see if this one can go. Can go. See if this one can go south. Okay, now there have been complaints in the past that the government decides something on a Friday, tell the schools, and the schools have got to get ready for Monday. Now they're going to get 2 weeks. Is this a good move? There's probably a reason why it's not, but is this a good move? Giving schools notification of being reopened, because I mean, I feel for the kids who've suffered. I mean, we know they're having online lessons, which are structured. They're running to a school timetable. Any thoughts?
It's just another disaster for us because of COVID, isn't it? I mean, it's when the big uptick in cases came when they opened schools, opened universities, and did the eat to greet or whatever it's called. What was it? Eat out to help out. And it's not. I'm not saying that to make political points, but the fact that people started mingling again was what caused where we are now. It's science. They would have had to have opened up at some time. It's almost like I'm trying to say is you can't criticise the decision to open up, but the consequences which were predicted have come true. I mean, it's just as sure as eggs are eggs, as sure as 1 and 1 equals 5. That's what caused it. And the kids are suffering. We're all suffering. Whether this 2 weeks thing is helpful to schools, probably. But how do you know? How will they know 2 weeks in advance of? Are they using data to justify those decisions? Is it the same for every school or individual schools?
They have said reopening of schools will be on a regional basis, based on the local figures.
One of the problems is
not every school in the UK will open 2 weeks Monday.
You know, the problem is all it needs is one teacher to die because of it. And this is why the unions don't want them back at the moment. You know?
Well, the answer to that is to move teachers up the queue.
Yeah. And pest controllers.
Should move police up the queue as well.
Well, the idea is both of those, and ambulance workers are getting done because they're NHS employees, but firemen as well.
Any service that comes in contact with the public, because as we know, the public on the whole are well behaved, but it's the minority who are actually, I
don't know if you heard about this, but I heard that about 75% of a certain community are refusing to take the vaccine. Have you heard that?
There's lots of scaremongering going around in ethnic minority communities.
Yeah. And what do you mean by that, John? But not taking it.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate?
Well, you've only got to read the press to see that there's stories that Indian minorities are being persuaded by people that it's more likely to kill them because of their ethnicity, which is just utter rubbish.
Interesting.
But and like my friend diagonally up there, I have been to the shops and had to go to the shops because we just couldn't get any milk or anything like that delivered. So I went to the local shop. It's a little, and was disgusted to find that the security guard sat there on a chair in reception and he isn't even wearing a mask. So how are the people who go into it going to be encouraged if the security guard hasn't even got a mask on?
They're not.
I then went to Morrison's, where there are 2 security guards, and it's only a relatively small Morrison's, and you're getting past them unless you've got a mask. And if you say, oh, I've got an exemption, they ask for proof. And if you haven't got proof, you're offered a mask. If you don't take the mask, you're politely asked to shop elsewhere.
Which is difficult to live in. Sorry, Peter.
Sorry, do they have a right to do that? Because folks say, that's my civil liberties, they'll say.
Because it's now law, Peter.
Okay, good.
But anyway, at the end of the day, you have a right to determine who you deal with. Same applies to Morrison's.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 superstores in town. We've got Morrison's and Sainsbury's, and both of them now say that you have to wear a mask or you're not allowed in. So if you want to do your shopping in Devizes, you've got to wear a mask, unless of course you shop independent. But there aren't many of those about. So I remember the days of the corner shop.
It leads to the question then: has the country been strict enough? Are we too liberal?
In what way?
Yeah, of course we are. Because
I know an old school friend. She lives in Dubai. Is it Dubai? They were all locked in. They had the police in the streets watching for people out, and they also had drones flying about looking for anybody. Yeah, she goes, it was a clamp down. It was the same in my pal in Spain, in Lanzarote, and and you had to have a downloaded ticket or on your phone to get out. What would happen if we done that?
We wouldn't have as many cases. We wouldn't have as many cases.
I have a friend who lives in France, in a relatively small village. Even in that relatively small village, they have to download a pass to go out, and no one is allowed out after 6 in the evening. That's at present. We should have been doing that months ago.
So, do you think Boris Johnson's trying to be the devil's advocate, sitting in the wall, trying to please that one?
It doesn't matter who's in charge of the government. Whatever political party, whatever they do will be wrong in a large number of people's opinion. It is an impossible job.
Yeah. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So do you want some good news? In 28 days, 10 hours, 3 minutes and 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, there's a new rover landing on Mars. It's called Perseverance, and it's now just 28 days, 10 hours, 2 minutes, 51 seconds. But it's going to dig into the surface and look for past evidence of past life. So set your watches, because in 28 days, 10 hours, 2 minutes and 39 seconds, got another wonderful thing to look at. Just like, oh, well, he's made me full screen. Yeah, just keep your eyes out. And what date is the 28th of Feb? What day, rather? Let's have a look. 28th of Feb is a Sunday. So that'll be fun. And then I've just seen you put Branson. Yeah, he managed to get a plane up into the lower atmosphere, upper atmosphere, hasn't he? So good on him. And have you seen the SpaceX thing where 2 of the rocket boosters land at the same time? Have you actually seen that? It's an amazing sight. It's an absolutely amazing sight. So if you get a chance next week, Steve, we can perhaps show that. Are we allowed to show YouTube videos on a
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. YouTube videos, yeah. No problem.
We do it.
Good, I'll send you the link.
We do YouTube videos on screen in Be.Live all the time, don't we, Stephen?
We do, because at 4 o'clock today, John and I are live on Inspired by InVideo, which is all about InVideo. And we may well be live in the InVideo group on Facebook. We'll certainly be live on YouTube, and we'll have John's instructional video. So that's 4 o'clock, 11 a.m. Eastern. John and I will be live. Was that good enough, John?
Yeah, and we show that as a 20-minute, 10-minute, whatever video from YouTube.
How good. And can I just say thank you to Claire, by the way. Caesar said it's nice to see me back, which is it's nice to be back. So thank you for that. Thanks for that, Claire. Oh, thank you. Hey, Johnny, you recovered from your illness in the last few weeks?
I'm all right now. Biggest problem was getting a decent night's sleep. Yeah, terrible, unable to sleep. But last night was pretty damn good. So I'm hopeful that moving forward won't be a problem. See, I've been watching Peter, the Walkinator, in the day. And as he walks around and shows us all these wonderful things, that sends me to sleep. But I want to go to sleep at night, not during the day.
I tell you what, when Pete went on his walk on Sunday, brilliant to catch it live. I was actually designing a blog, and I got all the blog mapped out whilst I was listening to Peter. So it's great for blogging, Peter.
Okay. Yeah. I'm amazed at the people that actually come into my Facebook page and talk to me, and well, not so much talk. It's like pulling teeth and getting them to make a comment. You know, it's pulling teeth. They can't even type, and they say, "Hi, Peter, how you doing?" And it's amazing because I get a lot of my regimental friends. I get a lot of people that know me in Aberdeen, and they get Toastmasters, and it's just, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And you're out in the fresh air, and it's...
But Sheila hates it. She absolutely detests it.
She doesn't what?
No, she hates going on camera. And
walking around everywhere like this.
Even when you've not got the camera, yeah.
You've seen bits of Aberdeen that most Aberdonians haven't seen.
Yeah.
Have you found the source of the water running down the hill?
Well, I was telling my friend, there's the Denburn, but there's also, I'll trace it on the map actually, and it comes down. I don't know where it starts. I'll find that out right now. That'll be a task. Shut up. Phone. My friend does a lot of hill walking, Russell. He was out the other day. You can see the route we done. And I could have actually, I've got to tell you this, I could have actually done double that when I was in Army Cadets. Did you see my bit? I said, Russell, my friend, I'm meeting him today. We joined the Army Cadets together. We met in Germany. And even though he drove on the wrong side of the road and nearly killed us, he remained my friend. I worked with him in London, and I was nearly killed there because I had a bad accident there. And he's still my friend. But I came to the conclusion he's a jinx. And it's been great. Yeah, it was good. My only friend in Aberdeen. We don't speak much.
Yeah. talking of coastal waters and fishermen getting their catch and then putting it on a lorry. Fishing firms hold a London protest. Fishing suffered, hasn't it? Do you feel they've been let down? I mean,
it's fishing, isn't it? It's the delivery of what they get out of the water that's the real problem.
Yeah.
Well, haven't they lost their market?
Well, they can still ship, but it's shipping it on time, isn't it? And when they get a 2-day delay in the UK, and then we had one last week with an 8-hour delay in France, the goods.
So I'll ask again.
8-hour delay when it got into France because it said UK and not Great Britain on the paperwork.
Okay.
Oh dear. If only somebody could have prophesied or told or wondered if this could happen. And the thing is that the fishing market, fishing industry, is bugger all of the UK economy, and they were just put out to, they were just tossed away like an old penny. Yeah, you can have that because it's not going to affect the bigger picture. Sorry, financial services is huge. They're going to get screwed as well. Here we go.
We all knew there was going to be problems, no matter what we done. There was going to be problems. Okay? And the reason the last time people didn't get over to France was because of Macron. Macron didn't let them in because of COVID until they all got vaccinated. He left these French people in Britain, wouldn't let them in until they got vaccinated. Except something's got to happen.
That was 27 days ago.
Well, they're saying, oh, you've got to be vaccinated and then you can get on the ferry. It takes 21 days to go round and be effective. So what is the point?
It's all going very well, though.
Macron should worry about his own country, the state it's in just now, things that you don't see, the writings in the street and everything, because the mainstream media won't tell you about it.
Right. Being a northern lad, I'm going to change the topic and say congratulations to Man United for actually being top of the Premier League, and it's taken a long while for them to get back to where they used to be. So it is good news. And Mr. Solskjaer, of course, is the best manager in the league at the moment. John?
Well, I don't know. My manager got sent off last night, so what can I say? He disputed the goal, and everybody else says the goal should never have been allowed, but he disputed it too loudly with the officials and got a red card.
How was Stoke doing, Stephen? Well, the last time we were here, I was pulling my hair out, although I do have a nice head of hair, because we were bloody awful, absolutely terrible, and we'd had 4 terrible managers, and we were terrible. The players were terrible. The weather wasn't very good, and look at us now, 7th in the league, within about 3 points of the potential to come back up to the Premier League.
Good.
And I remember asking you, John, what the hell? Who's going to turn it around and how? And bugger me, yeah, they're doing it. He's doing the Martin O'Neill, is it?
Yeah.
Doing a cracking job. I don't get it. I've never understood football code.
Same.
That's what I think about football.
What?
Get home and don't come out and close your football grounds down. You're so privileged. And then you go like Celtic, going abroad and having a great time, lying on the sunbed, scoofing the beer, and yeah, great. Then coming back with COVID. When you're back from Britain, get home.
Yeah, right, whatever. Yeah, Michael O'Neill did a great job with Northern Ireland, so he's proved that he's done it with Stoke as well.
But what does he do? What does he do? Because he had a really terrible, I might have mentioned that before, he had a terrible squad of deadbeats, lazy people, and he's brought what, 4 or 5 people in, I think. And look at them now. What did he bloody do, John?
He got people who were prepared to get off their bum and run around.
And how did he do that?
Well, some of them came for nothing, didn't they? So that's even better still.
Yeah, I get you. It's just this. Ferguson was always thought of as a genius manager, but I just don't know what they do, because I remember that Branson said when they stole the railways, he said that he would motivate the drivers to turn up to work on time, and they said, "How are you going to do that, mate?" Because obviously they were a poor organisation. I shall just explain to them the benefits of the Virgin brand, and that will be sufficient to get them to do the jobs properly. And at the time, they laughed at him, and he's sort of ripped. Well, he doesn't own any at the moment, does he? He just ripped off the taxpayer incredibly. But what do these people actually bloody do?
Motivate.
How?
Don't ask me. I don't motivate people. You've got to ask a motivator.
That we wouldn't be here right now doing the discussion we're doing. We'd be earning multi-million pounds somewhere.
Now, I'm gonna. Can I just shock you?
Please do.
Please do. Yeah.
I'm going to talk about cricket.
Oh God, no!
Cricket.
Peter, go on. I love the Scottish cricket team. I'm just saying that just to encourage you.
There is one.
I'll tell you what brought a lump to my throat. Was it this week or last week? The cricket team were playing someone abroad.
Yeah.
And I was one lone fan.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah.
Standing on a flat.
Yeah. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, this guy went out a year before, because his idea was that he'd work locally and then he'd go to the first test match. Test match was cancelled, and it was only last week that they actually played it. And he was still in the country. He was still working. He got a full-time job and a part-time job, and he turned up in the ground, and they found out who he was, and he celebrated with them when they actually won. And the team captain also had an interview with him, phoned him up and said, "Well played, mate. Staying here for a year is real dedication, and I'm glad we actually won. Because if we had got stuffed, then it wouldn't be worth being here, would it?" That's good.
So that's a bit to my question about how you motivate people, isn't it? Something drew him, something made him take 2 years out of his life to follow a cricket team. And we ought to ask him why. That would be a good answer.
Well, he actually deliberately got a job over there so you could see the cricket team. Wow. And he phoned him.
Yeah, the captain phoned him and talked to him on. I think it wasn't on the pitch.
Oh, Claire, no! We need to eat more fish.
So there's motivation. I mean, managers, that's what they do. That's their job.
Is fish the motivator then, Claire? I actually, for the first time ever, bought some sea bass fillets this week. They were bloody horrible. I won't be buying any more.
Quite nice.
I've been trying to eat more fish, actually, as Claire suggests. But honestly,
I'll tell you why I didn't eat a lot of fish. My mum used to work as a fish filleter in Aberdeen, because that was the thing to do in Aberdeen. That's what we're known for. And my mum would come home every Friday and every week, and they would have a thing called a fry, and they got some fish, probably stolen, and they brought it home, and we had fish quite a lot. And in the pubs in Aberdeen, you used to see guys going in and selling fish in the pubs. And my dad used to work in the fish meal factory, and he didn't know it. No, they actually stank of fish. Stank of it. When they went in the bus, when they went out the pub, people would say, "Somebody put fish in here," and it was them. They didn't even know they were smelling.
My dad he worked at Lucas's Engineering in Burnley, and he took early retirement, and he decided to fulfill his life's dream, which was to be a fishmonger. And he trained with the local company who supply fish to everybody in the area. And he and my mum opened up in the Arndale Centre on a fish stall, which they ran for 12 years. So they just enjoyed it. My dad enjoyed talking to people. My mum enjoyed filleting the fish and serving people. And it was just, you came down the escalators and their stall was straight in front of you. And they sold fish. Yeah, my dad's had it easy though, because he used to leave my mum filleting the fish, and he'd gone off and have coffee with all the other stall holders.
Mine one hurt. Do you know one of the best fish I've eaten? Have you ever been to Madeira? Madeira, you've got a thing called the blackfish, and you go to the market, and there's this big blackfish, looking thing looking at you. But boy, when it's cooked, it's absolutely beautiful. Blackfish.
Okay, point from Claire. Fish that wasn't for the footballers, John. We need to eat the fish to support the fishing industry, so they don't have to export 80% of their catch.
I have a regular cod. Yeah, every Friday. Well, more or less every Friday.
All right.
So do we, but it's in batter.
Yeah, so's mine.
I've started buying tinned mackerel and things like that, curried, and then for my rice, because I'm a low carb diet, and I have rice which is made of cauliflower rice. You get in bags and Asda and things now, and that's what I have maybe at dinner time. Curried fish and cauliflower rice. Schmeckt gut, ne?
Definitely. And our second space story of the week. This is how wonderful our technology has become. They're now counting elephants from space. And, well, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
That tea advert where the little girl says, "And now to address the elephant in the room," and then turns to a little elephant and says, "No, not you. We're addressing the tea." And then they talk about how they're all moving to PG tips. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, adverts are, but my best adverts for MASH, get smash.
That was a long time ago, though.
I love that one.
1964.
Is that what it was?
Well, it must be, 'cause I
some of the
remember.
adverts were brilliant.
They smash them all
The
to
little
bits.
aliens. That
Yeah,
used to
little-
mesmerise my daughter when she's little. She'll be 30 soon.
For man. What other adverts do you remember?
I think you're over time, mate. You can remember next week.
God, it's 11 o'clock already.
It is. John, it's over to you.
Okay, so it's really nice for all four of us to be back.
It is, yes.
You were going to say
Right.
something, Steve.
Yeah, I was. Peter, would you lead us out when John's finished in singing Happy Birthday?
Oh, my God. So, goodbye from the man in the north in Aberdeenshire, or Aberdeen in Aberdeenshire, way up in the north east of Scotland. From my friend down in Wiltshire, on the Wiltshire Riviera, that's along the side of the canal. And it's so great to see our friend from Stoke back. So it's goodbye from all of us. And Pete's going to sing us out because it is Stephen, PH Stephen, birthday. 61 today, I think.
Just going to do a Nancy first. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to
you.
you. Happy birthday, dear Lefty Stephen. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to
you.
you.
Oh, forever.
Hooray! 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 To Lord Red.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
You were fun.